We've been saying for a long time that we need more people to step forward, people that maybe have volunteered in political campaigns. They have been behind the scenes. We need more people to step out and actually enter the arena. So it is with a 28-year-old Republican. His name is Morgun Sholty, and joins us. Morgun is running for Congress in CD1. Morgun, first of all, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Wall. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been an avid listener of your show over the last 7 years, and it's wonderful to finally come on.
And by the way, it's Kevin. When you've listened for 7 years, you go from Mr. Wall to Kevin, please.
Well, I grew up from a family of horse trainers, and if I don't address people formally, my father would be very, very disappointed.
I understand that. Morgun, tell me, you've been behind the scenes. You've done a lot of stuff. I mean, your resume is very, very impressive. And the fact that you're the father of two boys, you've got a vested interest in our future. And at the age of 28, entering this race, going against Dina Titus, an established Democrat, why did you enter the race? What was the motivating factor?
Sure. Well, frankly, there's a plethora of variables I considered when doing this. Initially, the bug was planted in my ear when I was asked to run. I won't name names, but by some influential folks in our party here. And, you know, they planted it, and I thought about this and considered it, and I talked with my family. And after long deliberation, I mean, we came to the conclusion that I think I will be our party's best asset for the general. That was one reason. But, you know, when I look at it and I feel the emotions that I've experienced, you know, the Democratic Party is frankly destroying America, one family, one job, one business, one industry at a time. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's not a secret anymore. And so something has to be done, and we have to hold politicians like Dina Titus accountable for what's going on.
You've been traversing CD1 since you announced, I believe, back on February 10th. I got to ask you, what are you hearing from voters? What are the issues that are resonating with them?
Sure. Well, initially, you know, it was education seemed to be the biggest, most prevalent issue, especially with, you know, Clark County School District being the fifth largest in the country and being ranked at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it depends on what source you're looking at, but I think the best I've seen us ranked is 47. So that was a big issue. And then, you know, masking of our children, it's proven that, you know, masking inhibits a children's ability to learn because it takes the emotion out of the classroom, and it's terrible for social skills. And so, you know, kids being stuck at home, that was a very, very big issue. But now, I mean, with inflation coming in very, very strongly, that is slowly becoming a big issue. I mean, for me personally, it's a big issue. I've got two boys, you know, they're in preschool, and then Becca's in real estate. So, you know, we're both extremely busy, and we're both driving all the time, and gas is just hammering us in every way. So, I mean, that's a really, really big issue. And frankly, it's an issue that doesn't have to be an issue. And it's really silly that we're not addressing these issues and this administration isn't doing something to make a change, because there is a pathway to change, and there is a pathway to having a strong America, and America that we were founded on, America that we had 2 years ago. So, you know, I would say those are kind of the overarching issues right now.
Again, Morgun Sholty joining us, GOP candidate for Congress in CD1. Tell me how redistricting has changed CD1. Is it vastly different than what Dina Titus won on 2 years ago?
Oh, my goodness, yes. That was a big factor in getting involved in this race, frankly. I wouldn't have gotten my name on the line here unless it was something I knew I could win. And they completely redistricted it. The DCCC is probably going to try and double down on Susie Lee and Horsford, and it's almost like they're looking at Dina Titus as expendable. The NRCC just released an article where Dina was on the record, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said, "They totally effed me. Now we're all going to lose." And, you know, we've got Henderson, Boulder City, and Sun City Anthem all in the district, which makes this race not only a potential flip, which is going to be targeted in the general and probably a very expensive race, but it's also really important that we get somebody in there that knows what they're doing and can run a grassroots program and get young people involved and knock doors, because turnout with those three districts I just named is going to be exceedingly important for our statewide races.
What is it that sets you apart? When you get into a race, there are other people, obviously, in the primary. Can you talk a little bit about why what is it that makes you different from the others?
Sure. Well, I think the face value thing that people are going to notice is my age, right? I'm 28 years old. I'm young, youthful, have a lot of energy. And, we're kind of trying to brand this as this is the future. This is the party. Where are we headed? What are we going to be doing? How are we going to get the next generation involved? And I don't think any of the other candidates are going to have that asset. And the other asset that I think I bring to the table that really separates me is my experience. Professionally, the last 7 years, I've been involved in campaigns, and I've learned how campaigns work. So my money is going to go further. I'm going to have more young folks involved. And I think that those are the two big things that folks are going to notice. When they see me out there with a bunch of student interns knocking doors, I think that's going to turn some heads.
I want to ask you about a couple of issues that will come up in the campaign. And, of course, obviously, Biden inflation is one of them. We're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it at the grocery store. We're seeing it everywhere. How do we fix the Biden inflation?
Well, I think one of the first steps we need to take is to become more dependent, because a lot of this inflation currently is coming from fuel prices. Economy and ecosystem, it's a similar structure. When you mess up an ecosystem, the whole thing's affected, right? The whole B theory, right? So same thing with gas prices. We're really hurting at the fuel pump, and so it's causing prices to be an issue everywhere. But the other thing that people aren't really talking about is, we might lose the petrodollar. Saudi Arabia is talking about getting away from that. Russia's talking about a gold standard. There's all these other things that affect the global economy, and that could be an issue, and inflation could be going up even more. So I think we need to focus on balancing the budget, getting spending under control, and that's all Congress. That's something that I will actually be able to influence when I go up there. And, we just got to get our spending under control. It's not rocket science. You got to have a balanced budget. There's no reason to continue printing money and going in debt.
Can you talk about, and I'll give you as much time as you need to give a quick bio on yourself and your family and your kids, and how you came to this point of running for public office?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky. Come from a family of horse trainers. I would be a fourth-generation horseman if I didn't get involved in politics. And I got involved with Rand Paul back in the day, and I got involved with a couple big PACs in D.C., and they sent me out here to work on Danny Tarkanian's race in 2016. And fortunately, he endorsed me out the gate, and I also need to mention that I was the first one in this race to get endorsed by an incumbent member of Congress. But, I ran his race. I did a really wonderful job, and I've been doing races here in Nevada since and across the country, ballot initiatives. I worked with Power to Parent last cycle. We took them to CPAC and got them an exhibitor package. And, I've just been a passionate activist. And I keep seeing all these candidates come out of the woodwork. And it's just like, I just feel like we could be doing so much of a better job on the campaign side. Because when it comes to Republicans, generally speaking, we all believe in American values. We're all on the same page for the most part. So the thing that I think our party's missing is the right type of campaigning and the right type of focus. And, we need to quit neglecting the door and things like that. And so that kind of pushed me into doing this, because I was like, look, I've got the same values that everybody has for the most part, right? And I'm definitely going to be convicted, especially with my roots, where I come from. I mean, in my father's business, people still do business with a handshake. So, integrity is definitely a big thing. But I think we need to have somebody that knows how to campaign well and knows how to get young folks involved and is going to focus on tackling these debt issues. And with the endorsements I have, I think that speaks true to where I'm going to be philosophically on the issues, and it should give a little credence and confidence to my campaign style. And, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you on a totally different level. What is it like having to go out and raise money? You got to raise a lot of money to run for Congress. What is it like? I call it dialing for dollars. But tell me what it's like for you.
It is dialing for dollars. There's a love-hate relationship for me. So I really enjoy talking to folks and talking about the issues. And a lot of these donors are are very smart people. You're talking to big doctors and business owners, and you're getting such a wide perspective on what's really going on. Most candidates will complain and say it's terrible. I don't mind it. When you get down to the nitty-gritty and you ask them for money, it's a little uncomfortable, of course, but when you have a big vision and a big goal and you really want to make a change and you really care about this, it makes the ask a lot easier. And things are going really well for us, and I couldn't be happier.
Let me ask you in our final minute, tell me how people can help you. How can my listeners reach out to you, and what is it you need at this point?
Well, obviously, first and foremost is volunteers and manpower, and get involved in your local community. I mean, we're doing a good job with fundraising, but if you guys can chip in, that would help tremendously. But I think the most important thing is that we get involved in our communities and we educate people on the issues, and we make sure they're making educated decisions. My campaign, I feel really strong about our grassroots. I feel really strong about that. So the thing I'd like to tell people to do is just get involved in your community and get out there and volunteer and, be an active member. And the thing I want to make clear, too, is our party needs to be united. So whether I win or somebody else wins, we all need to support the person who gets the nomination, and we all need to be on the same page, because it's not about one candidate. It's about winning this race and getting the right person in there with good values and getting our country back on track. And so hopefully, after this primary is done, everybody can get together maybe with a breakfast or something, and we can all get on the same page and support each other.
I think that's a great idea. Where can folks find you?
MorganSholty.com. Pretty plain and simple, and they can go there, watch my announcement video, check out my endorsements. Our issues page will be up in the next 3 days. It's a lot of work, and I'm very particular about that, being a very philosophical person. So we've been working pretty diligently on that, providing sources and stuff. And, just go on there. You can donate, you can volunteer, and I would love all the help you guys decide to give.
Morgan, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. I know you're busy crisscrossing CD1. Thank you so much, my friend. We will talk again soon, I promise.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
There you go. Morgun Sholty, a GOP candidate for Congress in CD1, wants to unseat Dina Titus. We've got to get rid of her. And I'll just tell you, it is, right now, today, Dina Titus thinks she's gotten screwed by the Democrat Party, the DNC, and redistricting. And you know what? She might be right. And if that's the case, then we've got to have the best candidates out there running against some of these people who, due to redistricting, may be more vulnerable. We'll talk about that. Stay where you are. More to do as we continue on AM 670 KMZQ.